Well, welcome to Your In Depth, where we walk through and break down our favorite fictional universes. Today, we're going to continue our journey in Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. This will be our part 5. So, yeah, I think there's like 2 hours left in the movie, too. So,
Yeah, about
about
2 hours.
Yeah. So, I guess a couple of things I'll just throw out there right before we get started. Lord of the Rings TV show or Amazon show coming up. New movie, I want to say. You said, what was it called?
The War of the Rohirrim.
Yeah. And then new Gollum game. But that's really, I mean, it's the same stuff we've been saying. Haven't really seen much new.
Yep.
But I will also say, if you guys want extra content, early access, uncensored, all that, please go ahead and go over to Patreon and support us there. Because
we never mentioned it when it first came out, there is a new Lord of the Rings mobile app, mobile game.
Oh, I guess there is that.
That I play the crap out of. It's called Lord of the Rings Rise of War. If you guys like the Clash of Clans style of games, like base builder, army builder type games, that's basically what it is. But I've been enjoying it. So if that's something you guys like, you can go check that out. It is free, so you don't have to pay money for it.
Yeah, and we're not even sponsored by really anything other than Anchor and Aowen's Elegant Eatery. And a few other. I guess we've got.
What is it? And the Rohan Hospice Care.
Oh yeah. Rohan Senior Care took.
Senior Care.
They've been generous as well. I low key think it's because they steal from their residents. That's how they're able to give us so much. But it's whatever.
They give us all that stew, and it's just so disgusting.
Oh God, I think
they
that
have Eowyn working in the kitchens.
I think that Eowyn gets her leftovers from the Rohan Senior Care, where all of them don't have teeth anymore, so they just gum up all the food.
Or taste buds.
Or taste buds. That's fair. I think that she serves them, and then also that's how she I think she uses them to kind of,
get some kickbacks.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. But either way, so I guess there is a mobile app. But with Patreon also, I know that personally, so we divide up, it's like you guys support us and donate towards us. That does get split between us. I know on my end, I'm working to upgrade my audio equipment and stuff to really put it back into the podcast. So I enjoy that. There's two of you guys that are supporting us, and that's super lovely, and hopefully you'll be seeing and hearing the upgrades somewhat soon.
And I'm just agreed. They'll give me your money.
Well, that's Evan for you. But I mean, personally, I think that he should do the same. But anyway. So, but I guess without further wasting time or spewing off announcements or whatever, we'll save all that for the end, I guess, and reiterate what we've already said. But let's get started. Last time we had left off with Edoras being evacuated and headed towards Helm's Deep. Aragorn had a dream / vision. I don't even freaking know, but about
dream /
Arwen.
flashback / vision /
hallucination /
potentially
sugar high. I don't know. But
I'm betting Eowyn put some of them shrooms in her stew.
Maybe that's how she deterred. If anybody's already built up in a tolerance for the shrooms that she puts in there, they recognize that the stew sucks. But that's how she gets them. She gets them all loopy, and then they think the food's good. I don't know, man. We're exposing her right now.
Anyways, Aragorn has his dream / flashback. Like I said last episode, I'm not sure exactly what it was.
Right.
With Arwen, that's where we kind of ended it, right? It was right there after that little flashback dream thing.
Yep, and he kind of comes out of it and continues to walk. Eowyn is kind of beside him and all. Eowyn asks where the woman is that gave him the necklace that he's got. And we kind of get a flashback of Lord Elrond telling Aragorn to let her go, let Arwen go. She remains here because of him. You can probably elaborate a little bit more on what's going on there.
So, like I said before, the elves are leaving Middle-earth. They're going to what they call the Undying Lands. It's basically like, because they're elves and they're immortal anyways, it's kind of like they're just going to heaven without dying type of deal. And so basically, like, a lot of elves view it as like, if you don't go, you're gonna die, like either like killed via war, or in Arwen's case, she would actually become mortal because of her background, because of I believe who her mother is. No, sorry, it's because of Elrond. Because somewhere down his lineage, one of his parents was human. So she has a little bit of human blood in her veins. So it's a weird Middle-earth thing where, like, she could choose to be immortal and go to the Undying Lands, or become mortal and stay in Middle-earth with Aragorn.
Anyway, resuming, I just had a question that probably would have brought up a little bit of spoilers, but we can touch on it a little later on if I remember. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not probably too relevant necessarily. But either way, we see Aragorn leaving the place that they're at. Was that Rivendell?
Yeah, but it's just like nighttime in Rivendell. And this part, if I'm not mistaken, is a little piece of extended edition.
Okay. Well, we see Aragorn leaving. Arwen stops him. He tells her that she should leave, like, go with your people, and he's basically trying to break things off for her own good.
Like,
it's basically like, I want you to live on, like, don't choose me over,
Basically telling her what Elrond told him, but in different words.
Yeah, but she's not really accepting that. She's not. Yeah. But then
because it's kind of on the lines of, like, she can see that these are her father's words, not Aragorn's words, because she knows how Aragorn feels about her. So she's able to recognize, like, this is my father talking, this is not you talking.
Yeah. But this was all a flashback as Aragorn tells Éowyn that Arwen, God, that's a lot of names, sails away, like, took off and whatnot. Yeah. We see some scouts for the Edoras group moving ahead before being attacked by warg riding. Is this Uruk or is it orcs?
Yeah. So it's a warg rider orc.
Okay.
So smaller than your typical Uruk. But these are actually two of the king's. The one, or they're both part of, like, the king's guard. But they're like guards / advisors to the king.
Okay.
For clarification, just because they're scouting ahead, but I guess they're not technically scouts. Because like scouts typically have all they do is scout ahead of an army or whatever.
That's fair, but they get attacked.
Yeah.
Aragorn goes on to see what's going on, and he turns back and is yelling that they're under attack. Yeah,
because Legolas shows up and actually finishes off the warg. One of the two ends up getting killed by the warg. The second one kills the orc on top of the warg. Legolas shows up, kills the warg. And turns back to Aragorn and tells him it was a scout. And then, he's basically like, crap, gotta raise the alarm. Crap.
Yeah. But, yeah, then Legolas gets to a vantage point, sees that there's more coming. Theoden sends Éowyn to lead the people to Helm's Deep. Meanwhile, a lot of the men ride off and fight.
Yeah, and this is one area here, right before this battle starts, we actually get to see some of Legolas' skill with the bow. We got to saw it some in The Hobbit, but we do see him just picking off orcs and wargs as they're a pretty good ways out, and he is using the bow that he got back in Lothlorien from Galadriel, which is superior to his old bow, more range, all that kind of stuff. But we get to see him just kind of take down some wargs and orcs before the riders of Rohan, come riding up to fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do. He snipes a bunch of them. He eventually then swings himself up onto a horse and rides into battle.
And it just so happens to be the horse that Gimli is riding on. Although Gimli did struggle to get up on that horse in the first place.
Yeah. But
it's not a ram.
Battle,
he's not used to it.
But a battle ensues. Wargs are ripping people apart. Gimli falls off the horse, tries to fight a warg with his axe before Legolas shoots it. Gimli has a warg on top of him, and an orc attacks him, but Gimli breaks its neck.
Mm-hmm.
Aragorn then saves him. It was Aragorn, right? That saves him from the warg.
He
then
picks up a spear as a warg it crawls on top of the dead warg and orc that are lying on Gimli because he's stuck on the ground. Aragorn throws the spear and kills it, saving him.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first area where we get to see a little bit of the competition between Legolas and Gimli. Because as Gimli goes to attack that first warg, Legolas shoots it and kills it. And Gimli replies, like, that one counts as mine. Mm-hmm. And so just be prepared for, like, future fight scenes and whatnot throughout this movie and the next movie. They have, like, a competition to see who can kill the most.
Yeah. But there's some more fighting that goes on. Aragorn gets dragged along a warg before being dragged off of a cliff. We see him just kind of friggin' go.
Yeah. Because, during the fighting... Because when you look on the sides of the humans, right, or of Rohan, they're all on horseback. The orcs are on wargs. So, like, in this fight particularly, if you kill the orc, you still have to fight the warg because it's basically like a giant mutated wolf. You know, so it's still going to fight. If you kill the warg, the orc is going to get up and fight. Whereas, like, Rohan, you kill their rider, and that's all you got to worry about.
I mean, the horse is just going to, yeah.
Yeah, but one of the wargs does jump up and knock Aragorn off of his horse, and that's when we see him get tangled up, and like the saddle on one warg.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and he actually gets tangled up on the leader of this warg pack, the lead orc in charge of this force, whose name is Sharku.
Okay.
Yeah, another orc with a name. But yeah, he gets hung up on that orc, like, coincidentally, the leader of the orcs in this particular skirmish, knocks the leader off of his warg, but the warg keeps running right off of a cliff, like you said, and we see him just kind of plummet down as he was attempting to get his arm unstuck from the saddle.
Yeah. Sorry, I was sending Patrick a message.
Yeah.
He's trying to call me on Discord.
Just keep in mind too, like, again, like most, or I guess all, like, combat scenes and whatnot, like, we're not really going too much into the combat because, again, it'd be like, oh, this guy attacks this way, that guy attacks, it's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
To kind of commentate on it, but just remember, like, this is a good chunk of riders fighting wargs, so they're like, it is a proper battle, like a lot of fighting going on in the background. It's going from scene to scene with, a Rohan guy fighting an orc over here, a warg killing a guy over here, back and forth as everything is progressing.
But then the battlefield falls silent. People of the Rohan or Edoras, these guys, they won. They successfully got them off. Of them, they killed them. But then we see Legolas searching for Aragorn, as does then everybody. An orc that is almost dead tells what happened to Aragorn before he dies. He says that Aragorn is dead. He got thrown off a cliff, whatever. And
this is, again, the orc that Aragorn got tangled up on his warg, the leader of the warg pack, that they interrogate, because Aragorn did stab him with that knife that he got in Lothlorien before going off the cliff, and that's why this orc is injured and dying.
Yeah. But Legolas finds Arwen's necklace, and then they check over the side of the cliff, seeing a river far down
Yeah,
below.
and I mean, if it was just a river far down below, it'd be like, okay, he could have survived. But there's like rocks jutting out
Yeah,
from the
there's a
side of
lot
the
of.
cliff, rocks at the bottom as well. It's like, what are the odds that he survived? Type of deal, you know?
Mm-hmm. Theoden orders, though, for the wounded to be put on horses and the dead be left. And Legolas kind of looks like, dude. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's wartime. They need to move.
Yeah,
Eowyn
it's
and
like
her.
if this was just like a freak encounter type of situation, like, then they would care for the dead, take them, bury them, burn
Mhm.
them, whatever they had to do. But when it's, all out war as it is, and, they're women and children and elderly, they're sick and whatnot, are more or less unguarded at this point trying to get to Helm's Deep. They really can't dilly dally.
Right.
They don't have time to do the proper thing in this instance.
Right. But Eowyn and her group approach Helm's Deep pretty joyfully, like, yay, we made it,
Yeah.
But they find that is this a time jump, or were there more people there?
So this is not a time jump. So basically, what happened was when Theoden says,
I understand what happened now, but
when
go
Theoden
ahead.
says, we make for the refuge of Helm's Deep, back when they're all still in Edoras,
Mhm.
like messages get sent out to all the towns and villages and whatnot. And I'm sure some villages were already making their way to Helm's Deep as it is. But
Yeah.
basically, the whole of Rohan, across their entire kingdom, are all fleeing to Helm's Deep. So by the time Eowyn arrives with their people, there's already a lot of people already here.
Yeah. In this group, we see the two children who were sent away, like to alert, Edoras. We see them meet their mother. Their mother survived, so yay! That's kind of happy.
And it does
Gimli
kind of pause them for a moment here too, as we first get introduced to Helm's Deep on a statue of a guy holding a statue of someone holding a hammer. And for, I guess, those that are interested, this is actually Helm Hammerhand, who is if I'm not mistaken, the founder of Rohan. If not the founder of Rohan, he at least oversaw the construction of Helm's Deep, specifically. Like, this was his fortress. And the War of the Rohirrim animated movie that we've kind of talked about a little bit at the intro, a couple different intros, that follows him and the founding of Helm's Deep and all of that. That's the time period that movie takes place. So once that comes out, we'll be able to see, like, I don't know if we'll see the construction of Helm's Deep, or like maybe at the end they'll be like, let's build a fortress here, or what exactly. But we will be following that character with that movie.
Okay. But Gimli tells Eowyn what happened to Aragorn, just basically saying he fell, and Eowyn looks hurt. We cut to Saruman and Slimeball talking about Helm's Deep's weakness, which apparently, its outer walls are all stone, except for a small little drainage type area.
Yeah, like a drainage ditch, or
kind of like a little outlet type of deal. Yeah.
That way it doesn't flood down there along the wall.
Mm-hmm. Saruman says that if the wall is breached, Helm's Deep will fall. He then reveals his army, which is a lot. There's a lot there. I think they even say like tens of thousands, something like that.
Because they're talking about. Thatcher mentions, if the wall breaching the it will fall. Grima kind of says something along the lines of like, it would take like thousands to storm the keep itself, right? Saruman's like tens of thousands. Grima, there's no such force. Like, there is no force that strong. Opens up to like almost all of Orthanc, which is, again, Saruman's tower and his outer wall that he has, like, filled with Uruk-hai, armed and armored, like in formation, ready to go, with pikes and banners and siege equipment, all that stuff. And he's got a full-fledged, like, one of the biggest armies in Middle Earth, now.
Yeah.
And
but go ahead.
we got to remember too, and because there's a meme about it that cracks me up. He made this army in like a year or 2 years. So he grew this army of Uruk-hai in like almost no time. So he goes from like this wizard that, you know, he's powerful in his own right to basically a warlord in about a year to 2 year time. Like one of the biggest armies in Middle Earth, an actual like threat to kingdoms type of deal in a very short amount of time.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But he orders them all to war with Rohan.
Yeah, gives them this nice, majestic speech.
Yeah, and Grima has a tear in his eye.
Yeah.
Is this kind of like out of like a bit of fear, do you think? What was his, or is he just kind of like, oh, it's beautiful?
So Grima originally was from Rohan. That was like his home country. So it's kind of like he understands what he's done. He understands the repercussions. He understands there's no going back. And I think he's feeling some regret.
Okay, that's what I kind of wondered too.
Like he's kind of questioning the actions that he took.
Yeah, I kind of wondered that.
But it's kind of like you know, I've dug my grave, now I have to lay in it type of situation, you know?
Yeah. Kind of too late. I'm already committed.
Yeah. Full send Norgerts.
Yep. We cut over to Treebeard, Merry and Pippin. They talk of Isengard and Saruman. Treebeard comments that Saruman has changed. He once walked these woods, but he's, you know,
yeah, and because they're
not great now.
They're in a spot there in Fangorn where they can see Saruman's army leaving to Helm's Deep. Like they can see them leaving Isengard. That.
Yeah. But then we cut over and see Aragorn wash up on shore. He's dreaming of Arwen. She kisses him and says a blessing of protection over him. We do see in this kind of scene that he does have, you know, some injuries. He's got blood on his shoulder. He's got like a cut there. But as he's laying there face up, a horse comes in, starts licking his face and messing with him.
Did you recognize the horse?
No.
It's Brago. The horse that he calmed down in the stables in Edoras.
Oh, yeah. Shoot, I didn't pick up on that. Oh,
yeah, it's awesome. The same horse. It's like the horse remembers him, you know, like him calming him down type deal, and so he's come to save Aragorn.
That's awesome. I did not pick up on that. I honestly, my exact reaction was, where the frick did this horse come from? And I would say that I still have that question. However, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah, well, because if you look at the horse, right, if you really pay attention, the horse doesn't have a saddle. It's got, you know, it's got the reins and it's got the, whatever it's called, that little bar that gets put in the horse's mouth for the reins and whatnot. It has that, but it doesn't have a saddle. So my guess is when Rohan left Edoras, they didn't worry about closing the gates, and they probably left the horse there to kind of wander out and be free. And it's formed some sort of bond or connection with Aragorn and realized that Aragorn needs help. Again, elven, voodoo, magic, however you want to justify it. Because Aragorn does speak in Elvish to calm him down and whatnot. Probably some sort of bond formed there through Elvish magic and language and whatnot. Would be my guess.
I don't know. Interesting, though.
Yeah.
Now, last time, Aragorn had a dream about Arwen, and you said, and he wakes up with a big old horse kiss in his face or something. Were you referring to this?
Yeah.
I you know.
It was a spoiler without being a spoiler.
It was. That's funny. But he ends up getting on this horse and takes off. We see Arwen, another kind of flashback.
This is not a flashback.
Actually, yeah, I made that note. I go flashback, and then I said, oh, wait, never mind, or something like that. But we see Arwen, and Elrond is telling her that it's time to leave. The ships are leaving, but she chooses to stay.
Yeah,
she says that there is still hope.
he's telling her that, that the ships are leaving for Valinor, which is another name for the Undying Lands, for clarification there. But yeah, she's like, nah, fam, not going.
Yeah, and Elrond just says that it's not worth it, like, to stay there. Aragorn is mortal. She will have to bear that bitterness. We get kind of a potential future kind of outlook. I don't even know what you would want to call that. It's like a flash forward kind of thing.
Yeah, potential
Aragorn,
future is the right word there.
Okay. Of Aragorn laying dead. It's kind of like it as a funeral. It's not like he's laying dead in a battlefield or whatever, but he's got a funeral. She will be taken over by grief and roam the earth in her numerous days. She's crying at this glimpse, and then we do see her walking with the elves as she's apparently chosen to go.
And so I'll answer that, but real quick, one of the reasons it shows us this is because Elrond has the gift of foresight, so he can see potential futures.
Good old Doctor Strange up in here.
Yeah, basically. But this is like the most likely, like 99% chance this is going to be, not even 99% chance, this is a future where her hopes come true and Aragorn survives. So right now it's like I'd say like an 80 to 20% chance that like they lose and Sauron wins. And this is like, if that 20% chance happens where, they win, this is what will happen. This is what she's going to have to endure type of deal. Yeah. But in terms of when we see it, Arwen with the elves, yes, she comes to the conclusion after what Elrond has told her that she needs to leave and she has to go to the Undying Lands.
Mm-hmm. We then cut to Galadriel speaking Elvish to Elrond. She says the power of Sauron is growing. Isengard has been unleashed. Rohan will be attacked. The Eye of Sauron turns to Gondor. He knows the ring is close. She comments that Frodo's quest will claim his life.
Yeah.
She continues to talk about the ring's efforts to return to Sauron as well.
Yeah, and so it's not just that the quest will claim his life. Frodo is starting to realize that it's going to, like, to complete this, he will die. Like, Frodo's coming to that realization is what she's saying here, specifically. And, we know that Frodo and Sam are both captives of men now, right? Like, they got taken captive, as we saw during the last coverage. And as we were told in the first movie, when Gandalf is talking to Elrond, Elrond even says something along the lines of, like, men are weak, like, they're the reason the ring survived. And so a lot of people, at least in the elves, recognize that the ring can easily influence men, it can easily take hold, and it can drive them to do bad things, like uncharacteristic type things, like as we saw with Boromir in the last movie. And so she's kind of talking on that as well. And she actually says, if I'm not mistaken, let me make sure. I don't want to. Okay, yeah, I wanted to make sure I said the right thing so I don't spoil anything. But she says something along the lines is all it's going to take is for the captain of Gondor, the young captain of Gondor, to extend his hand and take the ring, and they'll fail. Referring to the guy that we saw in charge when they took Frodo and Sam captive.
Right, yeah. But she says the time of the elves is over, but questions if they should leave, and leave Middle-earth to its fate. Basically being like, do we aid them or do we leave?
Yeah, it's kind of like a hint, Elrond, maybe you could do one last thing to help.
Yeah, or something, but
yeah.
The men that took Frodo and Sam are talking about the war, what is going on and all. They're looking at a map because it cut over to them. Go ahead.
Sorry. Just before we continue on, I just wanted to clarify something as well. when Galadriel is talking about the elves leaving and should they leave men to their fate, that is specifically like Rivendell and Lothlorien elves. Thranduil and his elves are staying. Like they're at least for this war, they are fighting on their own battlefields during this war, as well as like the dwarves of Erebor are fighting as well. It's like the elves and dwarves of Erebor during this time are fighting their own battles within Mirkwood and around Erebor and whatnot. So this is not just a war against the Rohan or Gondor. This is like Sauron and Saruman are attacking everybody type deal. And they have the forces to do so.
Yeah. Thranduil, he's still alive at this time, yeah?
Yes.
He's just never mentioned throughout Lord of the Rings.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Throughout the movies. He is mentioned in the books a little bit.
Okay.
But throughout the movies, he's not mentioned. And King Dane, who we saw crowned at the end of Battle of Five Armies, he's still King of Erebor as well.
Okay.
At this time. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because when they say just, the elves are leaving, since we've already covered the Hobbit, that could raise some questions. That's of right now, like I said, elves of Mirkwood still fighting. They're not making their way west to go to the Undying Lands quite yet.
Okay. But yeah, these guys are from Gondor, and they're preparing for the attack that's going to be on them.
Yeah.
Their leader tells these men who they are. Asks them who are they, and they say they are hobbits of the Shire.
And so these men, again, since we are on them now, these men, what they're called is the Ithilien Rangers.
Okay.
And so as we see on the map, they're talking about Mordor attacking Osgiliath and Minas Tirith. Osgiliath was the capital city of Gondor, right there on the river between Minas Tirith and Mordor. A long time ago, Mordor attacked, and it's basically a ruined city now, and that's like Gondor's like frontline defense. And so they're like, Mordor's attacking here, Isengard's attacking at Helm's Deep. But the Ithilien Rangers are actually, if you look at the map, are located on the eastern side of Osgiliath. Ithilien is its own territory, and that's where their men are originally from. But it is still part of Gondor. It's just a territory within Gondor.
Yeah. The leader, though, asks about Gollum, being like, what about that creature that was with you? And Frodo says there wasn't another in their group. He tells them that they were sent out, Frodo saying this, that they were sent out from Rivendell with 7, losing 1 in Moria. He explains who was in the group, and the leader recognizes Boromir's name. Asks if Frodo was a friend of Boromir. Frodo says yes. And I didn't really realize this, but this guy lets Frodo know Boromir has died. But I didn't even think about it. Yeah, Frodo didn't know that Boromir was dead because he died after, like, he was fighting them off as he was like, Frodo, go,
Yeah, as
he wasn't,
Frodo,
but he was part of that,
Yeah, as Frodo is trying to escape, Boromir's protecting Merry and Pippin.
Right.
In a different area of that battle that was going on there at the end of the first movie.
Yeah, so I didn't even realize
Frodo
that.
has no idea that Boromir dies until this guy tells him. Same thing with
Right,
Sam. They
and,
both don't know that Boromir died however long ago.
Right. But this man is Boromir's brother. We see a flashback of Boromir in Gondor sparking,
and this
this
flashback we see is extended edition.
Oh, I'm so glad that they included that in extended edition. I
don't. Before that flashback, it is this weird, like, Faramir standing in a river and sees the boat that Aragorn sent Boromir off in. And I think that's just kind of like an illusion thing of him thinking.
Yeah. Super quick. Since you just said his name there, I don't know if we've learned it quite yet, but yeah, Boromir's brother, the guy who's the leader of this group, his name's Faramir.
Yeah.
But that was just because you said that. If we haven't mentioned that, somebody probably would be like, wait, what? But that's who that is.
Yeah, just that way it's easier to refer to him instead of like the leader of
Yes.
or this captain,
And-
this
and
guy.
And it's very soon that we learn his name anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, just saying. But yeah, we see this flashback, and Boromir is in Gondor or someplace, one of the cities, and he's
Osgiliath. That city I was saying was right there on the river. Their front line defense. That's where he is at. He had just taken it back from Mordor, and they're kind of like their celebration.
Yeah. And he is, they're celebrating. He's kind of sparking motivation with his people. He's celebrating the reclamation of one of their cities or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We see some interaction with his brother, though, and it's his younger brother, and they drink some ale in celebration. In comes Boromir's father, and neither of them are really too thrilled to see him.
Yeah.
But he ridicules Boromir's younger brother, Faramir. He ridicules him, kind of being like, yes, we reclaimed this city, but why did we lose it, Faramir? Like, he's just always kind of crapping on him.
Yeah, and that's... I'll say it now. That's something we'll see more in the future. And that's something that Faramir has had to deal with his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to live up to the expectation, trying to live up to the... I don't know what you call it. Like the... Not standard, but like live up to his brother's...
The bar has been set at his brother's level, and he's
Yes.
always striving for it and coming up short, especially in his father's eyes. He's never living up to be what Boromir is.
Yeah, and I would even say it's not that he's just not living up to
he's
it.
Dead.
He's not living up to the bar. He's living up to the bar. His father just fails to see it.
Okay, yeah.
Type thing. Like, his father's like, why aren't you more like Boromir? Why aren't you doing this like he would? Why aren't you, like... That's basically what his father has done to him his whole life, and we will see more of that in the future.
Yeah. But he comes in, does that. Boromir does defend Faramir, though.
Mm-hmm.
Boromir's father tells him that word from Rivendell comes that the weapon of the enemy has been found, and so on. And this is right before they departed for the Rivendell to form the Fellowship, all that stuff.
And with this as well, because we have been introduced to him now, their father, I'm gonna, if you're okay with it, I'll let you guys know his name.
I mean, I think it would be okay.
Yeah, because you don't actually get his name until a little ways into the third movie.
Okay.
But since we're seeing him here, I think it's kind of like,
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
But his name is Denethor.
Okay.
And we actually, back in The Hobbit, during the battle the Battle of Five Armies movie, when Bard and Thranduil ride up to the gate of Erebor, and Thranduil's like, you could sell this to Ecthelion of Gondor, right? And I made a comment on that, right, when we covered that part.
Mm-hmm.
Ecthelion is his father. Is Denethor's father.
So Boromir and Faramir's grandfather.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, this is Denethor. He is the steward of Gondor. He's not actually king.
Okay.
Because when the whole line of kings fail for Gondor, they don't have anybody of royal blood to take the throne, so they fall back on the stewards. And a steward will be if I'm not mistaken, it's again kind of like kings. The steward is a blood by blood thing. So like Boromir or Faramir would be steward after Denethor.
Okay.
But one thing on him that's going to be important in the third movie that I think is important to mention now, Gondor has a Palantir. That thing that Saruman was using and that corrupted him and made him fall and join Sauron. Gondor has one of those, right? One of the Seeing Stones. And Denethor uses it to try and get the advantage on Mordor to find out what they're planning, and that affects his mind. And it's basically, he has a battle of wills against Sauron, who is basically like a fallen angel, right? Like, extremely powerful. He has like a battle of wills against Sauron. Man versus angel, who's going to win type of deal. But he lasts a very long time. So he has mental issues that without knowing that, you'd just be like, he's a... But I do think that's important to point out.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
Because when we do see it, I mean, we will, without saying, spoiling anything specific, when we do see it, it comes across as he's just being a jerk to be a jerk. But there are reasons behind why he's being a jerk.
That's interesting.
And it's more of like a tragedy or like a tragic reason more than just like him just being a jerk to be a jerk. There's a tragic story to him and his character.
Okay. Well, anyway, we see Boromir's father, I forgot his name already, but demanding he goes to Rivendell. His brother, Faramir, offers, but gets shot down, always in Boromir's shadow in his father's eye.
Yeah, and because he even says something along the lines of like, I know his uses and they are few. Basically telling Boromir that like, can't count on him for jack squat, type of deal.
But Boromir rides off. Then we cut back to present day. Frodo and Sam are asleep. Faramir wakes Frodo up and tells him to come with him. They walk along and go through a little tunnel and come across an overlook. And Faramir points at something down below the large cliff. Frodo sees Gollum down there. Faramir says it is a forbidden pool that Gollum, this creature, is in, and to enter it means death. So archers draw back and are aiming, and Faramir says that they wait for his command. Asks Frodo, he's like, should we shoot? And meanwhile, we see Gollum down there just beating the heck out of a fish
while
and singing about how he's going to eat it. And then it like starts flopping again, so he starts beating it against a rock again and like stuff. But Frodo says wait and explains the creature, says that Gollum is their guide. And actually right here is a good place for our sponsor break, I think, because we do have an ad read.
Oh boy.
It's a short one. Are you sick and tired of the December weather? Do you want a getaway? Come on down to Faramir's Forbidden Springs. This resort has a lovely pool that is to die for.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
That's it. Well, anyway, so yeah, resuming. We had our sponsors there, so thank you to Faramir's Forbidden Springs. If you're looking for a New Year's getaway, head on there, and yeah. But anyway, Frodo asks Gollum to follow him. They're kind of down there, and he asks him, he's like, come on, man, trust me, whatever. And Faramir captures Gollum and has his men beat him up. They interrogate Gollum, asking him where he's taking the hobbits. Gollum continues a back and forth with Smeagol again. They're like arguing, and Faramir's watching, kind of like, what the heck? But he's listening in on this conversation, and Gollum is basically saying, Frodo betrayed them. He's stealing his precious. And Faramir kind of looks like he's on to him. He's like, precious, huh? Like, kind of like,
he's like, what did they steal? Like, what did they take from you?
Right. Frodo and Sam, we go over to them. They talk about escaping. Frodo says that Sam was right, that the ring is consuming him. So he refuses to use it to get out of this. He's like, I'm not putting that thing on. It's toying
yeah,
because
Sam's like telling him, like, put it on, like, disappear, get out of here, like, escape, like, just do it just this once, this one time. And Frodo's just like, I can't, like.
Which good for him for recognizing it.
For
and choosing
once,
not
he's
to.
not being a little bitch. And, actually doing the right thing.
Yeah. But in comes Faramir with his sword drawn. He holds it out, pointing it at them, and he starts talking. He talks of the ring and kind of touches it with his sword. He is somewhat entranced by it, too, saying that it is his chance to show his quality, like to his father,
Yeah, basically, like, this is... Finally, I can show him that I'm worthy, that I can do something to help him, type of deal.
And Frodo screams at him like, "Get away from me," and pushes the sword away and runs off a little bit. Sam gives away their plan. He just tells Faramir everything. He says that they're on their way to destroy the ring. That's why they're going through Mordor. That's why they're there. Faramir says that the ring will go to Gondor, kind of being like, "Oh yeah, cool story. Well, anyway, I'm gonna give this to my dad."
Yeah, well, because it's not quite. I think at this point that Faramir's still kind of in question of what he should do. I think.
Yeah, he did have some hesitation.
Yeah, because Sam is like standing there, like telling him, this is our goal. This is what we're trying to do, and then asks him like, it's a burden for him to like carry. Like, can you at least can you help us out? Like, please, like basically begging for like assistance. But Faramir's second in command tells him that Osgiliath is under attack. And so at that point, he's like, we got to go help defend, Osgiliath. We can't just see. I don't have time to sit here and figure out what to do about it. You're coming with us. It's going to Gondor. Kind
of not so much my mind is made up, but more so like I need more time. Just we're going this way. Yeah.
Basically, I think that's where his mindset is on it right now. I could be wrong, but I think that's where it is.
But yeah, we cut to Aragorn, who sees the massive army of Isengard, like all these guys, all these Uruk-hai, they're all there. He's like, "Oh, that's that," and he takes off riding.
When we see it though, too, it's like we see the front lines, and it's just a trail going back, like.
Yeah, you don't even see the end of it.
Yeah, cannot see the end of this army marching towards Helm's Deep.
Yeah. But he takes off riding and goes to Helm's Deep.
Yeah, we get a little bit of a time jump here. I think it's only like a couple days, if that.
Yeah, probably.
Because, I mean, if you look at a map of Middle-earth, Isengard is like straight north of Helm's Deep, not very far in terms of like actual traveling distance. So I would say at most after he sees the army, it's like 2 or 3 days, if that. But we do see him, more or less arrive. He's stopped Brago, his horse, and sees the fortress, and he's like, one more effort, just a little bit to go. We're almost there, type of deal.
Yeah, and Gimli comes storming in. Though as Aragorn goes into the walls and whatever, Gimli comes in and says, he's like, "I'm going to kill you," like basically being like, I thought you were dead, like I'm angry at you, and then he just gives him a hug.
He says, "You're the luckiest, canniest, the most reckless man I ever knew."
Yeah.
With this big old gleeful expression, like the way he's saying it, and this big old grin on his face, like, "Oh my God, my friend's alive."
Yeah. But then Aragorn seeks the king. He runs into Legolas, who gives him back Arwen's necklace.
And Aragorn sees the king. He looks terrible.
Yeah.
I kind of laugh over it. Eowyn does see Aragorn here for a minute, but then kind of stops before approaching, and he does enter the keep to see King Theoden.
And he tells Theoden about the army. Says 10,000 strong with basically one intent. He's there to destroy the world of men. He tells Theoden that they will be there by nightfall. Theoden readies his men, just being like, "Oh, all right, well, they're coming, let's get ready." Gimli tells him that these are stronger than orcs, though they are Uruk-hai, but Theoden kind of responds with like arrogance, being like, "I've seen many wars, I know what I'm talking about, I know how to take care of them," but like he doesn't know the enemy that's approaching.
No, because what Theoden is used to is orcs with like leather armor or like cheap rusted steel or iron, I guess. Like a cheap or worn out scavenged armor is basically what he's used to fighting, whereas the Uruk-hai are like steel. They've steel armor up and down. They're actually organized. This is not something he's fought before. This is not something that anybody has fought before. This is a new breed of orc, basically. Like
Right.
But again, like you said, he's thinking of like pure. Is arrogance the right word? I think it's like I think the word now, but it's like he's talking like he knows what he's about to fight when he actually doesn't. I don't think arrogance
Ignorance.
Ignorance. That's the word I was thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like,
Okay, I was just
out of
joking.
out of pure ignorance, like he thinks he knows the enemy, but he really does not.
Yeah. But yeah, Theoden asks Aragorn what he's like. Well, what shall I do then? But not like in a way of being like truly seeking input. He's basically like,
yeah.
I'm out of options. We need to fight. There's like no other way, really. Like, what else are we gonna do?
And through these conversations here too, they're moving around the walls and checking on the defenses and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Aragorn's like informing him like they're coming to destroy. They're not here to destroy their houses, their farms. They're here to kill the people. They're not here to just raid villages. Like that's not the purpose of this army. They're here to kill the people themselves, not to be like a nuisance or like anything like that.
Yeah, and Aragorn says he's like, we need to send out riders then, seek help. And Theoden basically says it's like, well, we're not as lucky as you guys. We don't have friends. We're not, we don't have allies. There's nobody that would come to us. Yeah. We are alone.
Because he makes a comment of like, who will come, like elves or dwarves? And he says the old alliances are dead. Basically, because like, again, thinking back to that first big battle we saw at the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring, the Battle of the Last Alliance, that was like, elves, men, and dwarves all fighting together as allies, with, a common purpose behind it type of thing. But it's been so long, and these different countries have not been in communication with each other in terms of like an actual war for so long that at this point, Theoden's just like, our friends that helped us in the past are gone. Like, why would elves send help now? Why would the dwarves send help now? The dwarves want to go and mine and get rich. The elves are leaving, type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And Aragorn does say that, like Gondor will come and help, and like Gondor will send troops to help us. But Theoden kind of like, no, they won't, and kind of starts blaming Gondor. Like, where were they when the Westfold fell, which is a chunk of land in Rohan? Like, where was Gondor when our enemies closed in around us? Like, again, basically putting some of the blame on Gondor for the reason that Rohan's going through what they're going through, which is not fair because Gondor has been holding off Mordor for thousands of years.
We cut to Treebeard, Merry, and Pippin, though. Treebeard says that there's a gathering coming, and a bunch of Ents join in, and they come together, and they're going to have a meeting.
Called an Entmoot.
Entmoot, yes.
Yes.
We cut over back to Helm's Deep. Éowyn complains about being sent into the caves with the other women and children. She wishes to fight alongside Aragorn, but he basically says it's not his call. He's like, it's the king's orders, basically. We see various families are being basically torn apart as people are selected to fight. Weapons are distributed. Yeah. Aragorn comments that these are not soldiers; they're farmers and others. They're not soldiers.
They're basically grabbing anybody from ages of like 10 to 60.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we see like small boys being grabbed to fight, and like old men, like like grandfathers and children and whatnot. Like, anyone that can hold a sword or an axe at all, it doesn't have to be like they can hold it upright. If they can hold it, they're fighting.
I'm just picturing some kid dragging behind an axe, like they're still marching out to battle. Yeah. Legolas and Aragorn talk a little bit in Elvish. Legolas says that they do not stand a chance.
Yeah,
he's pretty avid about like, this is a stupid idea. There's no hope here with these guys.
And so we actually get relative numbers of the odds here. He says 300 against 10,000.
Yep.
Now, we need to remember as well, the Uruk-hai are not just 10,000 strong. They are more than 10,000 strong. 300 is a fairly accurate number of how many soldiers Rohan has. That's including taking like the kids and the grandfathers and whatnot and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Rohan has about 300, roughly. And Mordor, or not Mordor, sorry, Isengard has over 10,000. So like, yeah, they're screwed.
Yeah. Theoden stands putting on armor with the help of Gamling, kind of questioning himself in some way. I don't know if he's like doubting or if he's trying to encourage himself. What was your kind of interpretation of it?
I think he's kind of like, I don't even know if it's so much doubting himself. I think he's kind of coming to terms with what's about to happen. Because he says stuff along the lines of like, trying to think. So he asks like, where's the horse and the rider? Where was the horn that was blowing? They passed like rain on the mountain. Basically saying like, you know, we had riders. We had them go out and do great things. We had the horns blowing for war. We had all this great stuff. And now somehow we're left with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just coming to terms and trying. I think it's more along the lines of, like, wondering how they went from this great nation with this huge army, like this. Because Rohan is known for its cavalry. Like, their cavalry is, like, their thing. And so he's remembering the good days, the old days when they were powerful and whatnot. And now he sees where they're at now with this small force, having to grab children and old men to fight. Type of thing. He's just like kind of coming to terms with how they got to where they are. I think is what's happening here, honestly.
That makes sense. I don't know, but that does make sense. We see children though being armed, as you mentioned earlier. I mean, they're probably like 10 years old.
Yeah,
I think you even gave that number, but they're like young.
I would say like anywhere from like 10 to 60. If you were in that age range and you were a male, you were being pulled away from your family to fight. Yeah.
Theoden asks, and it's just kind of as he was talking about the old days, how good they were, how everything's been, he just kind of comments, he's like, how did it come to this? But we cut to Treebeard and Merry and Pippin.
And
Treebeard
I will say,
and the other, yes, what?
This is what really annoys me with this movie. It's like the only thing that annoys me with it. It keeps cutting from like
Night to Day.
Not even Night to Day. It keeps cutting from Merry and Pippin and Treebeard over to Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Theoden, but back and forth between the two. And it's like, just stick with one for a while. Come on.
But the Treebeard and the other Ents are just staying still and silent. The hobbits grow impatient and ask if they've decided. He's like, have you decided yet? Treebeard says they only finished saying good morning. And Merry says, it's already nighttime. Like we don't have time for this.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because the Ents are talking in Old Entish, which I think Treebeard even says.
Yeah, he does. At some point. I don't know if he said yet.
Like Ents, like they're old creatures. They've been around for I don't even know how long within Middle Earth. Like they're used to taking their time when it comes to decisions. They're used to, taking all angles, all ups and downs of doing whatever they're talking about potentially doing. Whereas like, Merry and Pippin, they're like, our friends are in danger and they need help now. Like we don't have time for this bull crap.
But we cut back to Aragorn, and he's sitting as a kid gets a sword, and he kind of calls him over and does encourage him a little bit, being like, this is a good sword, And
this kid is the son of Hama. So the guy that took like Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf's weapons when they first got to Edoras, that guy was Hama. The one that died when the two went up to kind of scout ahead, right?
Yeah.
Right before the whole warg fight. The one that died, that was Hama. This is his son.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought that was a cool little connection they make, because he even says his name
it's definitely
is...
cool. His dad's dead. So...
Yeah. But he says his name is Haleth.
Mm-hmm.
Haleth, son of Hama.
Mm-hmm. But he then Aragorn gets suited up himself. He gets his chainmail on, all his pieces, all of his armor, or whatever.
Yeah, he basically he doesn't really even take that much armor. And if you noted, like I said back in the first movie, you notice he's still wearing the van braces or like the arm guards that he took from Boromir as again like still a remembrance type of thing. He's still wearing that or those, but he simply goes with a chainmail shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that don't know, chainmail is simply used to either deflect or stop arrows from killing you.
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically like you got hit with an arrow and you were wearing chainmail, it'd get snagged in the chainmail. It'd stop the arrow from actually like going in and hurting.
But it's not going to pierce you and
freaking
kill you.
It might, like the tip of the arrow, if it gets between two of the chain links, it might draw a little bit of blood, kind of like a pinprick on you, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about all he goes for. That's about all he uses for armor. But I mean, that's really his style. He's been a ranger for 80 some odd years now. You know, he's not used to, the heavy, thick armor. He's used to mobility and whatnot. So.
Mm-hmm. But Gimli comes in. Legolas comes in and gives Aragorn his sword, saying basically like, I'm sorry for earlier. And Aragorn says there's nothing that needs forgiven.
And if you notice, Legolas has a little armor on him now too.
Mm-hmm.
He's got leather pauldrons, which is like shoulder armor on. And I would guess he might have some chainmail on as well underneath his clothes. But
I can see him definitely having like a mithril jockstrap.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
no, that's Gimli. Gimli's got the mithril jockstrap.
Probably, but listen, I just had the thought, and I don't like it. Thinking about mithril, it's interwoven. I'm just picturing the pinching and never mind.
So the mithril shirt that we see Frodo have in the first movie, and again the same one that Bilbo gets from Thorin, it's chainmail as well. But it's like more tightly woven chainmail.
Fine and
more tightly woven chainmail. But we do see, Legolas comes in and gives Aragorn his sword, and they kind of have like a "I'm sorry, oh no need to be sorry" type of thing, like bro makeup type thing.
Yeah.
But we see Gimli.
Each other.
We see Gimli put on a mithril, or not a mithril. Gosh dang it, Jacob. Put on a chainmail shirt. And it falls all the way down to the ground, and it's just like he's basically wearing a dress.
Yeah, well, because it was probably, it was made for men, and he's a dwarf.
Yeah.
But it's like dragging along.
Makes the comment too, it's like a little tight across the chest. And Aragorn and Legolas just kind of look at him like, you look like an idiot, dude. Because like the sleeves of it come all the way down past his hands as well. It's just like, Gimli, what are you doing?
But Gimli comes in. There's that.
Yeah. They do hear a horn blow. Yeah. They
do. Yeah, they hear a horn being blown, and Legolas comments that he's like, "That is no orc horn."
So
so they rush to see.
Yeah. This not in the books. Not in the books.
Interesting.
So think about that. Because what we're seeing here right now is elves ready for war, coming up what's called the causeway, the ramp into Helm's Deep, to assist Rohan.
Mm-hmm. And that's what the horn is. They do see a bunch of elves coming to help.
Yes. So in the books, the elves don't come to help. So just for, I guess, numbers purposes, we see several hundreds of elves coming to help, elven warriors. In the books, they don't show up. So in the movie, it's, as we see it right now, is roughly 300 to 400 Rohan soldiers, quote unquote soldiers, and I would say like 500 or 600 at least elves. So we're looking at roughly 1,000, right around there. In the books, Rohan gets no help, so they're still looking at a 300 to 10,000 at least.
Jeez.
For number purposes.
Oh, God. Also, so I'm going to make one more, elves come in, though, yes, and they enter into Helm's Deep. Apparently, Elrond has sent them as an alliance once existed between elves and men, and they are here to honor that alliance, or that allegiance.
And we see someone that we saw before.
Yes, and I wrote down his name, but not on this page.
Elves. We see Haldir.
Haldir, yeah.
Yes, he was the one when, after the Fellowship got out of Moria, before they could enter Lothlorien, he was the one that was like, no, you can't enter type of deal. And then Aragorn like pleads with him and he allows him to come in. So these elves are from Lothlorien. So Elrond does say, basically says like, hey, Galadriel, can you send people to help them on my behalf because I can't get there fast enough? Is basically what he says. And so these elves are known as the Galadrim, which within Lothlorien, very few elves are warriors. And among those warriors, the Galadrim are like the best of the best. Basically like the special forces. They watch over the woods. They're the guardians of the woods. So like these are like top tier quality soldiers. Which makes a huge difference, especially when half of the Theoden's troops are small children or old men.
yeah, I'd say. So this is the point where I'm kind of thinking would be a good one to end on, because this is kind of a high point. It's like, yay, they have help in the movies, But so if you're in agreement, I would say let's call this episode here.
Yeah, so I think this is a solid place to end. I would say before we kind of end here, the elves have these elves have arrived. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli come out and see them and like welcome them. Obviously, like thrilled for the extra fighting, the extra forces to help, and I would say the last thing we see is Rohan soldiers up there on like covering the main gate and elves along the side wall, ready to go.
Yep. But that's where we're going to end our part 5 coverage of this. I think it would probably be a pretty safe bet to say that part 6 will finish this out. Yeah,
we've got about an hour left for the rest of the movie, and part 6 is going to include the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Right, so a lot of action once again. So it's like there's a good chunk of time that is a lot of battle, a lot of action, but I mean, since we're just narrating it, we're not going to go through every move, so it would probably speed it up by a bit. And I think that makes covering it and finishing it in part 6 much more practical. Anyway, so I think that's a reasonable projection that's what we'll...
And I think the only thing that will slow us down in part 6 is because it will be
our
jumping...
idiocy.
Well, so sorry. The other thing that's going to slow it down in part 6...
Yeah.
is it will be jumping from the Battle of Helm's Deep back to like Merry and Pippin a lot.
That's true, yes. There's a lot of jumping around.
Yeah, that'll kind of slow us down a little bit, but I would say there's a solid chance we finish the Two Towers in the next episode.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks for joining us on our part 5 coverage of the Two Towers. We'll, like we said, hopefully wrap it up next time and get on to the Return of the King, and freaking about finish this off.
And
that would be our
Return of the King, my favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to it. I was telling Evan that I was watching this earlier today and I was taking my notes, and there was times where I'm like, I realize I'm like just enthralled by it, and I'm watching, and like 10 minutes pass and I'm just like, oh, I need to make notes about this, and I like have to go back because like and ideally I would watch it ahead of time without taking notes, but just because I'm falling behind a little bit, so I have to try to speed it up, and I do it that way, because I don't have time to watch an hour of a movie twice, especially for a 4-hour movie. But so I'm just looking forward to the next movie. Holy cow. But that wraps up this episode. So once more, I will mention the Patreon. That's where we throw in our uncensored early access content. Given that we're on top of things, lately it's been a little bit slower as far as not having that kind of breathing room that we had for a while. But we still post uncensored content there, and plus you guys help us out by doing that. So check that out. We're about 600 out of our 1,000 downloads next goal mark for our blooper reel,
and then
which we do every 1,000.
Every 25 reviews on Apple Podcasts will be live stream coverage of whatever we're covering at that time. We're still waiting to get to that first 25.
Yeah.
So if you guys could go leave a review, preferably like a 5-star review if you're really enjoying it. But I mean, if you're not, let us know what we can do to make it better. But please go leave a review so we can get closer to that goal and fix whatever you guys think we need to fix.
Yep. Yeah, we're always looking for input and how to improve. So if you have suggestions or overall just want to give your thoughts, we will read those on the podcast.
If you have suggestions, I'm not listening to them. I'm perfect. So
all right. But yeah, anyway, we rattled a little bit too long now. Check out the link in the description to be directed to many different ways that you can join our community, check us out on other platforms, support us, all that stuff. Get in contact with us. That's another thing.
And
but
maybe
check
I'll
that.
convince Jacob to post our most recent stats in the Discord group that we have for our downloads and views and whatnot.
Maybe.
Potentially.
Nah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm kidding.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Potentially, yeah. Yeah, either way, see you guys next time. Thank you for listening, joining in, and all that.
Peace.
Bye.
Deuces.